My guest today is Dave Chick. He says that music has been a large part of his life. However, that wasn't his first career. Time to find out more? Welcome to Small Talk.
Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. And Dave, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, I was just saying up front, babe, you didn't see this part, but that although music has always been a major part of your life, that wasn't your first career, right?
Not my first official career, no. I did, though, however, want to be a music teacher, and that's what my undergrad degree was in. But this was like the late 80s, early 90s in Ontario, and all those cutbacks were going, and it just did not seem feasible to be a teacher. So, yeah, I went off into business, and that was my first career in sort of consulting and stuff. So completely unrelated to music.
but it's kind of nice though that you have those two different worlds, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a unique perspective to have in the business, in the music business or film industry and so forth, to be able to I guess have the confidence and background to be able to negotiate things, talk about money, talk about all these basically project management things that most people don't really or are very uncomfortable about talking about. So yeah.
So now what is something called an Experience Music Project? What was that?
Oh my gosh, that was opened up in 2000 down in Seattle, and Paul Allen, one of the co-founders of Microsoft, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he was a big fan of Jimi Hendrix, and that was the impetus of the museum, was to be a Jimi Hendrix museum, and it just exploded from that. It's essentially what it started out as was a rock and roll not a hall of fame, rock and roll interactive rock and roll museum. So you had your typical exhibits, like it focused on the Pacific Northwest, so you had stuff like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and obviously Jimi Hendrix, since he was there, Heart, those kinds of bands, but then it also had an interactive aspect of it, where it was just, him being from Microsoft is very infused with technology, and I was brought in to be sort of the project manager on the technology standpoint of the entire museum. So they had stuff where you can walk around with these, at that time it was kind of revolutionary, where you could walk around with these portable devices and learn more about the exhibits and so forth. There's a whole interactive aspect of the museum where you could learn how to play like basic stuff on guitars and keyboards and drums and stuff. So it's if you ever go down there, it's now called the Mopop Museum, the Museum of Popular Culture, and it has a science fiction museum in there, and still has the music aspect of it. It's a real fun place. Yeah.
Cool. Now, is rock your style of music?
I grew up with classical, like I was classically trained pianist, and but going through high school, I sort of had a dual personality, where when I was at school, I was sort of like one of those prep kids that listened to Tears for Fears and the Police and all that kind of stuff, but then when I got home, I had my Motley Crue and my Van Halen stuff, and I just had a diverse musical background all the way through high school, and all still travels with me right now. So right. I don't say I would pigeonhole myself anywhere, but I think if I was going to listen to a playlist, I'd probably listen to progressive rock or rock. Yeah.
Very good. Do you come from a musical family?
No, not at all.
No?
I was definitely an anomaly. Like I'd be waking up at 6 a.m. in the mornings to practice piano and practice after school and that kind of stuff in high school. But yeah, my mom, dad didn't have a shred of music in them. My sister, nope. I'm the only one in my family.
No, it says here that you're a composer, right?
Yep. Yep.
And a sound design. What does that mean?
Well, besides music in a film, you have the rest of the whole soundscape of the film. You know, dialogue, obviously, but you have everything around you besides dialogue and music has to be designed or enhanced or at least fixed
Right.
in the film. So what I do is I get if I have the sound designer hat on, I go through the film, fix up the dialogue, clean it up, and then sort of fill in the whole space, because most of everything being mic'd on set is a mono source, and when you're in a theater you want it to be immersive, and so you have to add in an environment sound. So you have to have the room tone, or if you're outside you have the birds chirping and so on and so forth. The mics might not pick up all the footsteps or the clothes rustles, or if you get into sci-fi or high horror stuff, there's all those special effects or sound effects, that the monster sounds, those kinds of things that you have to imagine, and that's sort of what, if you think about a sound designer, that's typically what they're tasked to do with, but they have all these other things to take care of too.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever have an issue when you're doing that where the mouth wasn't syncing with the words?
Oh yes. Yeah, especially if they have to come in and do ADR, which it's called automatic dialogue replacement. There's nothing automatic about it, but when the actor has to come in and, like, either there was a mic rub or the audio is unusable from location, they have to come and re-record their lines. Nowadays it's not as hard, but getting previously when they would come in, getting them to actually say the line exactly the way they did and sync it up to what's on picture, it used to be quite difficult. But yeah, that's something you definitely have to look out for, because there's sync issues for sure.
Because whenever I see it, it's so annoying.
Oh, I know.
Right?
I know. I too. Yeah. Well, my wife hates watching film with me or TV with me, because I'm pointing it out all the time.
When I used to do improv, so I used to have fun with improv, like that.
That's annoying for sure. Yes.
It was fun though. Okay, and also mixing. So is that sound mixing? Is that do? Okay.
Yeah, I getting into, like, when I started into the film industry, composing, I wanted to be a composer. That was it. That was my lane. And it's just branched out over the last 15, 16 years to include sound design, recording, and then mixing for film and stuff. And that's, I say more than half of my stuff's still composing, but I do wear the different hats, and I think it's kind of good to be able to branch out and sort of know the whole department, so to speak, and how everything works. Yeah.
So what are some of the things you've composed?
Oh, it's short films, commercials, web series. It's usually just the soundtrack, the background music, theme music, that kind of stuff that goes along with films. Everything from horror documentaries, dramas, comedies, what have you. I think one of the coolest things about being in this job, if you want to call it a job, is that I've been asked to do so many different kinds of genres of music that I probably would have never touched if I hadn't been here. Yeah. Right.
Do you create any of your own films?
No.
Okay.
I stay away from that. I tried like, a lot of people come to me and say that they don't understand why I do what I do. They can't understand how I like it and stuff. And it's the same thing when I look at video editors who actually go and take the stuff from locations and they actually have to piece together these videos. I'm like, wow, you have a lot of patience. You must really love what you do.
And in the end, it's like magic, isn't it?
It's totally magic, and you just really realize how many people are involved in these projects.
Yeah,
It's
for sure. I
crazy.
was involved in a number of student films, and I just remember some of the, everybody doing something. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
enjoyed it. Now you have a Bachelor of Music from Western University and
Yeah.
Master's of Business Administration degree from McMaster.
Yes.
Okay, so there are all kinds of these things to fall. Wait a minute now. You also have a diploma in audio engineering
Yep.
from the University of Washington. Oh my gosh, what else here? You have a lot of different genres, as you say, or different your hands in different projects, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I think that's really good.
It keeps me busy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would think so. I'm just, like most people, we've been affected by COVID. Um, how's it been for you?
I really thought this business would take a like basically fall off a cliff come like May, June of like 2020.
Mm,
The production's basically stopped in March. There's still like the backlog from to do post production, which was my gig. Um, and I thought everything would dry up, but it took maybe a month or so before things just kept on picked up again. Either directors or producers found stuff on their shelves that they hadn't been working on before a while, and they started wood shopping, and they'd send it to me, and I would say I'm pretty well back up to the workload that I used to be doing. Being at home and basically my own studio and stuff,
yeah.
it's pretty well nothing changed. I was
Very good.
I don't have to go into the office and meet people. I don't have to go on production or sets or whatever. Like, I work by myself in my studio prior to COVID, and I'm doing the same thing afterwards. So yeah, no, it's been pretty good. It's not been bad
Very
at
good.
all.
Now,
Yeah,
I know you're married and you have, is it three sons? Oh, no, two sons and a girl and a daughter.
yeah, yeah.
Are they at all into music?
My middle child, son, is into music. He basically picked up guitar by himself at it was about grade 10 or so, and he took one of my guitars in from my studio and just started noodling with it, and started looking up at YouTube videos and teaching himself stuff.
Good.
And man, he's just fantastic at it right now. It's just amazing what's out there, and if you
Nice.
have the initiative and drive to learn by yourself, wow. Yeah, it's
Nice.
really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
What about your other two?
Other two, not so much. My daughter is in sort of more is in a creative has a creative bent. She's going into design, graphic design, and
Mm,
stuff. So she might be going into film, but nobody musical except for my son. My eldest is more in the science and quantitative stuff. So
that's pretty cool, though.
yeah.
And okay, now I know you have a dog named Cavapoo.
Yeah, he's a cross between a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel and a poodle, and
Okay.
his name's Cody. He's a little 14-pound little guy. He's cute.
It's pretty funny. So I noticed that some of the other things you enjoy, like outdoors, and I'm thinking, when do you have this time to do it, walking or hikes? Like when does that happen?
Well, you've got to make the time. It's easy just to get caught up in all the gigs that you're doing and just like heads down kind of stuff. But
Right.
I think you really need to you g- get that perspective, especially when you're in a creative field, and you can't just barrel through things. There's times where you especially when you're starting out a project
Mm,
and you have that blank page in front of you, and you get that imposter syndrome, and where do I start kind of stuff. You need to get out
right.
and get a bit different perspective. So be making time for yourself to just take those walks, or
Mm,
go do something else, play a video game, whatever.
yeah.
Just get another sense of what's possible. What are some things that you might want to try to do.
Right.
It's
Yeah. So you like
got to do
taking
that.
out?
Got to get out. The family we over the holidays we go skiing and snowboarding and that kind of stuff. And yeah, no,
Very
it's
good.
one good thing. One good thing to have a dog is that he kind of forces
Yeah.
you to get out too. So
Getting back to your sound design or mixing, whatever.
yeah.
When you finish a project, do you
Mhm.
ever have like a letdown?
Kind of. I think it's to a point where it's different creating for and this is something I warn people about when they see uh, music for film and stuff, and they say, well, I'm a musician, I make music, I can do that kind of stuff. It's a different kind of thing though, because you're creating music for somebody else's art, and your art is there to support their art. um, which is different from being a musician or a recording artist unto itself, in the
Mm,
fact that you are creating for yourself and your audience. There's a one-way kind of thing, whereas a composer is for film is creating for somebody else to show something else. So you're taking direction from somebody, and it's one of those things where you finish it, you can't really attach much of your ego to it,
right.
and you just sort of, it's not like you get a thick, I guess it is kind of a thick skin, but you basically try to disassociate yourself from personally, and your feelings from the music that you create. Not so much that it sort of waters it down and makes it impersonal or anything like that, but
Mm,
you learn to sort of distance yourself from the music that you create, or the art that you create. Plus it's pretty darn busy in the fact that once I do finish something, I do have to basically switch gears automatically and
right.
go off and do it. What I do not enjoy is actually going into a theater and watching my stuff being played in front of people, because you know where all the bodies are buried and all the
Yeah,
works
yeah.
are and stuff, and you're just like, oh my god, did they hear that? Or it's like, I should have done that better. I've never been able to sit through something that I've done and just sort of say, let it wash over me. No.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I get that.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody was like they were hiring you to work on whatever their film or whatever, you ever say to them, "No, that's not going to work," or "You should be doing this instead"? And if so, are they receptive?
It, yes, I think that's part of your job, especially when you're being hired to, be that area of expertise on a film. Uh, you come into it. Yeah, they have the director should have a vision of what they're hearing in their heads, whether it
Mhm.
be the sound designer or the music. So my job is to be tease that out of them. And one of the there is it's not just a one-way street. I
Right.
always try to treat it as, okay, I'm trying to interpret and then go with what your vision is, and then to the best of my abilities. But sometimes, yeah, they might have a suggestion, or they might have uh, something that they really really want, and you're like, oh well, in my experience, like, I've done this a bit of time, I don't, we could try it, but I don't know if it's I don't think that might work. So I think they are paying you for your expertise, not only in interpreting their ideas, but your opinions on some of the thing, how, what could work, what couldn't work, and stuff like that. More often than not, I try to tell the directors that that your actors are doing great. You did some great work there. I don't think you need music. That they're sometimes surprised by that answer. Is like, I thought you would want to have your music in there. No, no, it's like,
Yeah.
if the audience is getting it, it's the points coming across. Why hammer over the head
Yeah.
with music, the soaring strings and stuff like that?
What about,
Yeah.
do you ever come across a director that's got a big ego and it's really hard to work with?
Um.
Names, no
No.
names. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. There have been times where, like, there's only been one instance where I basically had to fire a client.
Okay.
Um, but no, it's pretty, it's pretty good in the fact that the key creatives that come in on a film are they usually, like, especially at this point, like when you're starting out and you're all student films and you're starting out composer, you're starting out whatever. I think a lot of people have big ideas and they have big things, but once you get into a professional realm of this, people are pretty, like, once they've picked you for the job and they're trusting you for the job, they sort of trust that you're going to be able to do things, and you have a decent conversation back and forth, and you become friends and stuff like that. So it's I would say maybe it's different at the higher echelons, like the
okay.
blockbuster stuff, but right now it's pretty good. Everybody wants to help each other out.
Are you still taking on new jobs?
Oh yeah.
And so if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what would be the best way?
They can go to my website. All the stuff's there. davechick.ca. My email is dave@davechick.ca. You can drop me a line there. My phone number's up there on my website. I think that's probably the best place. Yeah.
Okay, because I want to make sure that I include that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, no problem. That's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just wondering now, have I missed anything?
No, I think that's probably me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, well, just stay there while not like you're walking away or anything, but while I say goodbye to the audience. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. I hope you continue to do so. And I'm going to include Dave's contact information if you'd like to hear or contact you. If you'd like to hire him or check out his work, see what he does. And hope you continue to watch the show. Did I already say that? Don't forget to share and like and subscribe. And peace out, everybody. All right. That's it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'll probably get this aired around 4:00 today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I will send the link. Now, listen, there's not a lot of editing on my show because I'm not an editor. I absolutely hate it.
I hear you. I do. I used to do a podcast too, and I just remember trying to edit those things. They're just, it just gets too much.
It does. I used to have, when we were doing things live, I had an editor, and, I had a team of people all working with me. It was wonderful, but times change and you just have to go with it, right?
You do.
So I'm going to send that link to you on Messenger.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.